right, let's go. So we touched on this a little bit in our last point. We're going to cover what exactly are the types of copywriting, and we'll see what ChatGPT says, and we'll go on from there. All right, so we touched on this point a little bit earlier, marketing copywriting. So anytime, let's say you have a store or a blog or anything and you want someone to buy a certain type of item, you're writing to convince them that this item is the item they need and this item will improve their life. So there's a certain type of way you write when you're writing to convince someone to make a certain purchase versus writing to just, make a statement on the internet. So that's the first type of copywriting, technical copywriting. So this is something I didn't really understand what this was until probably a few years ago. But technical copywriting is, we'll touch on that point in a little second. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to expand upon this, and I'll show you one of the features of ChatGPT is to expand upon more difficult points, because this doesn't really complex technical subjects in a way that's easy for non-technical audiences to understand. So pretty much it's just writing in a way that is easy to understand, but we'll touch on that one in a second. So web copywriting. So this is something you would do in terms of websites for blogging and anything like that, landing pages, product descriptions. You're writing to convince your audience to do a certain outcome. So that's that. Advertising copywriting. So say for instance you're driving down the street and you're looking at a billboard and you see someone that says buy now or we buy this or 50% off. Anything that involves advertising and trying to get your audience to do a certain thing, that's advertising copywriting. Radio commercial, print ads, so on and so forth. Email copywriting. So if you have to do cold outreach, and I believe a lot of people who buy this course will be doing email copywriting and doing cold outreach. This is one of the main uses I've used ChatGPT for, doing cold outreach, helping me construct emails in a professional manner, because I know, and the people who do it, when you do a lot of emails, it can become taxing on the mind, to make sure you say the right things and, come off as professional in all occasions. So what I do is I use ChatGPT to help me just construct my sentences in a way that helps me get my point across and make sure I'm always professional, because after day or hours and hours of sending emails, you may just, want to get straight to the point, and, you have to be careful with who you're emailing. So that's that. We'll touch on that a little bit later. Social media copywriting. This includes captions, posts, social media posts, such as Facebook, Instagram. We'll touch on one of these points later, but what you can do is you can use ChatGPT to generate captions. I know a lot of times people have a hard time generating captions for their pictures, and you have to search on the internet good caption for pictures and lyrics and a lot of things like that. You can type in what your picture is, what you're doing, where you're at, and ask ChatGPT to generate 10 cool captions for your picture. So we'll do that a little bit later. But again, this is just the types of copywriting and the ways that you can use it. I also said I was going to touch on point number 2. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So before I touch on the definition, if you have a subject that you're supposed to write about and you don't really know more about it, you don't really know much about it, before you start writing, you can ask ChatGPT to explain it in a way so that you can get a further grasp on the subject, and you'll be able to have a better angle to write about it. So again, what it says is technical copywriting involves complex technical subjects in a way that is easy for non-technical audiences to understand. So I would describe it as scientists explaining something to the average user, pretty much. There we go. Type of writing involved industries such as technology, engineering, and science. Technical copywriters need to have a strong understanding of the technical subject matter they're writing about, as well as the ability to communicate complex information in a clear and concise manner. They may write user manuals, product descriptions, technical reports, white papers, and other types of content that require high level of technical knowledge. We have all read a user manual that was not well explained, and we know how hard that is. So technical writing is very important. One of the main challenges of technical writing is translating complex technical concepts and process into language that is easy for the layperson, average person to understand. This requires the ability to break down complex ideas into simpler terms and use clear and concise language. It also involves finding ways to make technical content more engaging and interesting for the reader. So again, that's something that we'll touch on a little bit more. But simply put, it's turning the complex subjects into simple and easy to understand topics. But we'll touch on that more. On to the next.